Good evening, Facebook and Twitter world. How are you this evening? I hope that you are really well on this beautiful sunny day. I hope that it's been sunny near you, because it certainly has in Northumberland. And I know it has in some of the other places of the country where my clients are, because they've been telling me how hot it is and that they've been sitting outside drinking their tea. And how beautiful is that? So I don't know what's been happening in your world. Mine has been very busy because there's a lot happening at the moment. And tonight, on the live tonight, it's going to be a really relaxed live tonight. Normally, I've got a handout for you and I've got lots and lots of tips for you. Tonight, I'm going to talk to you about the power of storytelling and how it can make an absolutely exponential difference to your appearance on social media, to your posts, to how you show up. And actually, it can be a real game changer. So that's what I'm going to talk about tonight. And I'm going to do it in a storytelling type of way, because that's exactly the point I want to get over tonight. We are in this society, and societies all around the world, not just in this society, in the entire world, in every different culture, every different corner of the globe, we are raised by stories. From birth, from young ages, we are hearing stories. They inspire us. They ignite our imagination. Listening to or reading a story really starts you to go to the place the author wants you to go. And that's how important storytelling is when you are writing your content to show up in any place on social media, whether you're writing your content for Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram. Doesn't matter what the platform is, whether you're writing content for blogs, for newsletters, however you're communicating with your audience or your potential clients. Telling stories is really important. Now, you don't have to tell your story all the time. You can tell the story of your product or service, but storytelling is really important. So that's what I'm going to talk about tonight. And the way that I'm going to talk to you about it is by talking about my story. Because when you're telling your story, you can't tell the whole world every single piece of your life that's happened since you were a toddler through your social media. You have to look at your story and think about what it is that took you to what you're doing now. What was the story that pushed you to become an entrepreneur, that pushed you to start the business that you've started, that pushed you into doing, what is it that drew you towards what you're doing now? Because we all have a story, don't we? That's your why. That's why you're in business. And that's a really important story to tell. But it's how you tell it that will allow your ideal clients to find you and want to get to know you better, to buy your products or services, because people buy from people. And when you tell your story, you connect with people on a deeper level. You may know this, but when you hear this again and again, and when you listen to somebody telling you that this is really important, it makes you go and think about what you're doing and how you're doing it. And that's the purpose of me showing up and talking to you about anything when I show up on a Tuesday night, because I want to help you to move your business forward, to move yourself forward in any small way. So think about it. So when I tell my story, and I'm 56 years old now, so there's a big story to tell there, isn't there? If I was telling my story of, I lived in Manchester till I was this age, then I moved here, then I did this, and it would be an extremely long story to tell. Lots happened in my life, and some pieces of it I select at relevant times to tell. So if I'm talking to a bunch of women about a specific topic and there's a part of my life that resonates with them, then I'll use that part of my story. But generally, I kind of selected the part of my story I thought was most relevant, that could inspire the most people through my social media to get to know me, to get to know my strengths, to get to know my failures, and to get to know what it is I can do and why that's really important, and that I can help them because of that story. And this is what you need to do when you are thinking about how you're telling your story. So my story that I tell, you've probably heard me if you've watched lives before, is that 11 years ago, I lost everything. I was a senior leader and I was earning a six-figure salary, and I had the perfect chocolate box cover life with the country cottage, the perfect nuclear family, 2 cars, six-figure salary, really comfortable, lots of disposable income. In the space of 12 months, I lost all of that and more. And I ended up a single mum in a council house with £30 in my bank account. So when I'm telling that story, I want people to know that I had it all and lost it all, because it enables people to connect with me on a level if they've had failures in their life, because I felt like a total failure. When I was at the end of that journey of 12 months, I felt like the bottom had fallen out of my world. I was at rock bottom. So I can connect with people who feel that they have been to rock bottom or are at rock bottom right now. It enables these people to think, yeah, I know what that feels like. So this is part of your story. What do you want to tell that will connect you with others that are listening to your story? So the next part of the story that I tell is about how I rebuilt my life over 10 years to the point where I went from £30 in my bank account and living in a council house to buying my dream home for cash. I'm telling a story of hope, that if I can do it, you can do it. And that's what's important in any story you tell. So there's 2 parts. The story of I'm the same as you, I lost everything. I might have had an important job, I might have been an important executive at one point, but I lost it all. And I was at the same level as everybody else at my rock bottom with nothing. But I rebuilt it all. So that's a story of hope, because if I can do it, you can do it. So, if you take my story into a couple of paragraphs, that's it, isn't it? Had everything, lost it all, ended up at rock bottom, rebuilt it, telling you a story about hope, because if I can, you can. That's how I simplified what I wanted to tell through social media, because I wanted people to know that actually I was really authentic and that I've had a tough journey, and I didn't become a successful entrepreneur overnight. It took me hard work. It took me time, because nothing happens overnight. And that's why I tell that part of the story. I want people to know about my ups and downs and my experience. And that's what's important when you are telling your story. So even if you are working for a multi-level marketing company and you've been drawn to that product for a particular reason, maybe it's that you were a single parent on your own and were looking to generate another income into your life that could save you from the space that you were in. That's your story, and that's equally as powerful and inspirational as anybody else's, because it's somebody that's struggling, then does good, then actually takes it out to the world. And that's always an inspiring story. And we love listening to stories, all of us. So my message for you tonight is think about how you're telling that story. Now, I tell my story in lots of different ways. Obviously, I've written a book about my story. I'm writing a second book about my story. So not only am I using my story through social media, I've written books about it. So that's another part of my story, isn't it? Because not only did I experience that, I've then written a fictional story about that. So if storytelling is something that you struggle with, what I want to introduce you to tonight is that I have a group called The Life I Won for Aspiring Authors. And I am looking for more and more people to come into that group and learn how to write stories. So how to write, you don't necessarily need to write a book, but I do teachings every single week in that group. There's a link either at the top or to the sides. I feel like an air hostess when I do that. That you can click to join the group if you want to join us. So what I'm looking for in that group is each week I do a training. Last week I was training people, I have to remember now, on top tips on how to write how to write anything. So how to write as conversation. And the week before, there were tips on something else. There's a free training in there on how to get started writing short stories. And I'm looking for women who are interested in becoming published authors in a collection of short stories. So if you are interested in writing stories, then I'm looking for people who can write a short story of about 1,000 words to come and join us in the group for aspiring authors, learn how to write a short story, then write one and be published as a collective. So if you're interested in getting started in writing, it's a great group. It's free. You don't have to pay for it. It's a bit of a passion project for me because I want to get people writing. I think it's important to be telling stories, and it's important to be writing and learning how to tell stories and write stories. So join me in the group if you'd like to. That's the only call to action that I'm doing tonight. Come and join me in the group and I will help you. So my other story, and this is also important because I've held off telling this at the moment, and I'm sharing this tonight for probably the first time properly. And I'm sharing it tonight because I won't be live next Tuesday night. I am taking a week off, full week off, social media. I'm on holiday. And I'm doing that because next week is the week which is the anniversary of my husband's death last year. So my husband died on the 29th of April last year. It's been a really tough and amazing year. Obviously, we've all been in lockdown through COVID. I've been grieving. I've had to rethink my life and rethink how I'm going to tell my story moving forward. And I made some big decisions in the last few weeks and decided to sell my house and move to Scotland to put myself closer to my Scottish castle. And I've got a huge story that will start to play out on social media in just a few weeks' time because I'm going to take you on that journey with me. And no, I haven't bought a castle. I have bought something very similar to the castle that is on my very vision board. But I'm not revealing that until the first week. That's okay, Paula. It's been a terrible, thank you for that though. It's been a terrible loss. But I'm 56 and I've still got some years left and I've got to live my life to the full, which is what my husband wanted me to do. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm following my big dream, my big goal of buying my castle in Scotland. So my step one is to put myself in Scotland. And I'm going to be sharing that with you guys from a couple of weeks' time, where I'm going to have before photos taken of this 7-bedroom house that I've bought in Scotland as my stepping stone property. And you are going to see it evolve into something amazing where I will be holding creative retreats for women to come to and experience a full week of creativity and exploring themselves. It's going to be an amazing thing. And you're going to see this play out on social media. That will be me telling the story of me stepping into my big vision. Doesn't matter that it's not a castle at this stage, does it? I'm on my way to my castle. I'm making the first steps, and you're going to see this play out from the carpets I choose and the wall coverings that I choose, from me deciding the themes and the decor for the retreat rooms, and how the whole house looks. It's an ex-bank over 3 floors. And the rooms are huge. It's got so much potential, but at the minute, it's not very pretty. And there's a lot of work to do. So this is going to be a great story, a live manifestation that I've had in my life that's going to make really interesting reading and viewing for my audience over the next 6 to 12 months, because you're going to watch it happen live. So that's why stories are important, because it's important for people to think that there is hope for everyone and that there is opportunity there. There is always opportunity to make money. There is always opportunity to move yourself closer to your big goals, because wanting to buy a castle in Scotland is a massive goal. I do need £3 million for that, and I don't have £3 million in my bank account right now. What I'm doing is taking the action, the first step towards generating and creating that income. So as well as the business I have right now, which is a wonderful business helping creative women to become savvy business women and make more money, and I'm a writer and a painter, I'm also going to be running creative retreats. So telling my story helps you to understand that there are lots of different income opportunities out there. It's about being open. It's about telling people what's really happening in your life at any one time. So tell your story, go away from this live and sit with a journal or with a pad and a pen and write your story. What do you want to share with people? You don't have to share the things you don't want to share. I don't turn up on social media and moan and cry about the fact that my husband died last year. That's my private time. That's what I do in private. Certainly don't want to be doing that on a live, although I do that, guys. I'm not completely infallible and perfect. There are flaws and there is emotion here, but that's not something you want to watch, is it? It happens for all of us, and that's okay. We're powerful women that also have another side to us, and that's okay. That's part of everybody's story. So go away and write down your story and think about what you want to tell people, how you want to inspire them. What's the inspiration in your story? And your story will be equally as inspiring as mine is. You are no different to me, and I am no different to you. We all have the same capabilities. What a lot of women don't realize right now on this planet is there is an upsurgence. We are queens, and you have got to get into persona and ready to rule your kingdom, because women are going to be the solution for this planet. I'm telling you now, those are my words. Quote me in a few years' time. Women are the solution for this planet. Step into your power and tell your story. It's a powerful, powerful tool that you can use, that you know it better than anybody. You don't have to be told how to tell your story. You already know it. Maybe at the end of May. But next week is all about me feeling the week and allowing myself to grieve if I want to cry if I want to, and to remove myself from social media so that I can think about my journey forward as a single person and where I'm going, because it's a big journey that's coming ahead of me. So I won't see you next week. I will be back the week after with whatever it is I'm sharing that week, and it will be valuable for you and it will help you. Have a wonderful week. I may pop in again live a couple of times before the end of the week. I've got speaking events this week. I'm everywhere this week talking about money mindset. If you want to hear a little bit more about money mindset and manifestation, then you can probably still get tickets to MIB International Rosendale, where I'm speaking tomorrow night. I'm talking about money mindset and manifestation and sharing some visuals of this new house of mine. I'm speaking again at MIB International in Lisbon on Friday at 10:30 a.m. If you fancy a daytime networking event, there's still tickets available for that one. So you can find that and buy your tickets for that. I've got some big news to share in these meetings. So think about your story. So my message tonight is storytelling is powerful. Think about your story and how you're going to tell it. How are you going to tell it through social media? How are you going to inspire people? You are important. Your story is important. I want to hear it. Everybody wants to hear it. So write it down, get ready to tell it, and bring the power onto your social media. Great if you tell it on video, because this is the most engaging way to tell your story. So have a wonderful week. I will see you in not next Tuesday, the Tuesday after. Good luck and namaste.